De'Aaron Fox. Part of this is just because the Kings haven't been as good, I think, as last season so far. He's missed some games to injury, and that's probably why the Kings are 9-6. But the numbers are great. He's averaging 30 points per game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, on 48% shooting from the field, 37% shooting from three. I mean, De'Aaron Fox is a handful. He really is. Ability to finish at the rim, the pull-up jumper, his speed, and then his knack for late-game heroics. Of course, he won first ever Clutch Player of the Year award last season. Defensively is where he lacks, obviously, mostly just because of his size and his build. You know, he can get steals, but he's never going to be a great lockdown defender. It's where the Kings as a team lack, and that's really what's holding them back. They need something else, clearly. I actually brought it up in an episode prior to the start of free agency. I brought up that Harrison Barnes was a free agent, and I thought the Kings should try to upgrade at that position. And I threw out Kyle Kuzma. I thought Kyle Kuzma could be someone that they could bring in. Kyle Kuzma's not really a defender, and at times can be a me player, meaning he doesn't really, he's only really looking out for himself. I thought the Kings could use someone of his size, his scoring ability. He's a great cutter, a good rebounder. I think he could have brought, an extra oomph to the Kings that they could have used. Even though he's not known for defense, he has the size and the length to be at least a average defender. They're looking to upgrade. It seems like that wing position is where they would go. Of course, the big names that are available that have been dangled in trade rumors, of course, is Zach LaVine, OG Anunoby on the Raptors, as well as Pascal Siakam. But does De'Aaron Fox plus Sabonis plus LaVine / Anunoby / Pascal Siakam, does that do enough to maybe win you the West? I'm not really sure. It kind of depends on how good you think Sabonis is. Some people don't, after last season's playoff series, they don't really trust him, even though he's had a great season so far, putting up huge numbers. And then De'Aaron Fox averaging 30 points per game, being this elite point guard. Can someone just like Zach LaVine add to that and be enough for them to be a contender in the West, a true contender? Kings really want to do something to do that. They're going to have to either be patient and hope that this core of players that they have, it's a young core. Malik Monk is young. Kevin Huerter's young. Keegan Murray, this is his second season. De'Aaron Fox is still in his prime years of his career. So is Sabonis. They have time to wait it out, and maybe someone comes along that they can cash in on. First on this list out of his 4 guards, I have Tyrese Haliburton. Now, he has absolutely blown me away this season. I mean, the Pacers have the highest scoring offense. They don't guard nobody. Don't get me wrong. They don't guard nobody. But they have the highest scoring offense in the league. Halliburton's averaging 25 points per game, 4 rebounds, 12 assists. I mean, so far, mostly in the month of November, he's been on a tear, like 30 and 15 assist games. I mean, it's insane. He is a super Steve Nash. And the jump shot is crazy because it looks ugly as hell. And I think we saw in the 3-point contest last season that, this kid can shoot, even though it just doesn't look pretty at all. And Reggie Miller's shot didn't look that pretty either. It doesn't matter what it looks like if it goes in, and his goes in. Now, he isn't a great defender, and the Pacers as a team they give up a load of points. You saw in that matchup last week between the Pacers and the Hawks. 157 to 151, I think, was the end score of that game. I mean, just a ridiculous offensive output in that game. And that's the thing that's going to keep the Pacers from being contender. They have all these pieces, all these guys on this team, Nembhard, Mathurin, Toppin. They have all these guys, Miles Turner, all these guys on this team that they want to play and that can bring something to the table. It'll be interesting who ends up being part of that future going forward, as they continue to build this team. It kills me because the Knicks passed up on Tyrese Haliburton in the draft, and you hear it all the time. And I've seen people bring up the Sabonis Haliburton trade, suggesting that the Kings may have chosen the wrong guard. I think it's too early to tell. And either way, I don't think there was a wrong choice here. They're both great players, Fox, Haliburton, and then even if you compare Haliburton to Sabonis, all 3 of them are really, really good young players. Haliburton and Fox, they both provide exactly what their team needs. The Kings need someone, an alpha, a scorer, while the Pacers, they have all these other pieces. They need a floor general. They need someone to bring it all together and distribute. And that's why you see them having the type of seasons that they're having on their respective teams. If you swap to them, I don't know if either team is in a better place. The Kings would have someone who's a floor general, but they wouldn't really have a number one scorer. Even though Haliburton's averaging 25 points per game, like, he is not the same type of scorer that Fox is. And Haliburton's more of a pass-first player who just also can shoot the ball and can score. Meanwhile, the Pacers, if they had Fox, they would have just a bunch of guys that can score and just no one who's really distributing, no one who would really bring it together. And that's why the Pacers look so good with Haliburton. That's why the Kings are so good with Fox. So I don't think there's really a reason to pit it against each other to compare them. But it's always going to be that way because of that trade. The same way with Luka and Trae Young, who were traded for each other on draft night. We'll always look at that trade and say, did the Hawks make a mistake? How fortunate were the Mavericks that they got Luka? Because I think everyone right now could say that the Mavericks won that trade. You would much rather have Luka on your team than Trae Young. Even though both teams have gone the same distance with them, they've both gone to a conference finals. Hey guys, thanks for tuning into the video. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Be sure to also follow Truish Hoops on TikTok and to follow me at OZP Dan on Instagram and X.